What's good, everybody? It's Jonah coming back at you on another video. So with this video, this is a PSA, but I'm here to tell you something that I'm sure you already know. And that is this. That you will not accept average. You will not accept it. You will not accept average, right? What I consider to be average is just accepting everything that life throws at you and just say, well, that's life, right? And just throw your hands up and just say, yeah, whatever happens, whatever I get it is what it is, right? There are many people who operate in that fashion, and you're not one of them. And I know you're not one of them because you've clicked on this video and you're watching this video, or you're probably a long-term supporter of mine, and you understand what it is that we do on this channel, that we're here to empower people, that we're here to bring out the best version of other people. And in order to do that, you cannot accept being average. Being average is literally just taking and accepting whatever life throws at you. And what you're going to do, because you're a creator, right? You're a deliberate creator. You are going to be in creating the life that you want. You are going to be the one to set the tone, and you're going to be the one to call the shots, to create the life that you want, to live life on your own terms. And you're going to be working towards that. Now, I want to speak of an example of someone of being in a position where you're not accepting average, and you'll see how this differs drastically from how the average person operates. So if we were to use an example, say for example, I'm sure you guys have restaurants in your area that are average, right? That they just for whenever people go to eat at restaurants, right? They eat usually to be satisfied, right? To obviously eat something to get food in their tummy. And they also eat for the experience, for the enjoyment. There are some restaurants who just offer an average experience, and that's all they've offered from the beginning, from their opening to however long they've been open, and if they've closed, right? Offering an average experience is just, if the experience is already average, then and it remains average, then that restaurant is only going to experience average results the entire time. And most venues, let's just say they've offered an average experience, they rarely do anything to improve that. And it shows, right? If there's a restaurant that's always been getting 3-star reviews everywhere on Yelp, Google, whatever it is, and they've been serving the same food year after year after year with no changes, that's average. That's people in charge of the venue that are not interested in looking for ways to get better. See, if I own the restaurant, the way I would operate, say for example, I just own like an American restaurant, say it's like some sort of like like the place sold bar food, right? Like say appetizers and like burgers and stuff like that, whatever. For me, I enjoy chicken wings, and most American restaurants that sell like bar food and stuff, they'll have wings on the menu. If I were to believe that we sold the best wings, but I'm seeing reviews nonstop of people saying that the wings are just decent, that they're average, that they're okay, this and that, I would be actively looking to adjust the recipe for the wings, because for me, I enjoy wings, and I understand that for a lot of people is a staple. That is a major draw for someone to want to go into a restaurant and eat, for the wings. And so if the wings aren't the best in the world, then I would be actively seeking a recipe that can make that be the case, right? Sometimes it may just require a minor adjustment. Like say, for example, the wings themselves are amazing, but the sauce is just not that good. Changing the sauce could bring the wings from a 3-star rating, an average 3-star rating, to a 5-star, right? But you won't know that if you're not actively tinkering with things, or trying to get better. If you're not actively seeking for ways to get better, then that won't happen, right? If you believe the wings are supposed to be a staple, and most people think the wings are just average, you should actively be going to other restaurants. You should be actively searching in your area or your city or your state for the restaurants that people say are the best wings to then go try their wings and then try to ask a cook or someone for the recipe. Or if not, it's to sit your behind down behind the computer and look at all the wing recipes that you can find on YouTube or online and try to recreate those recipes, right? And to see if those wings are better than the ones that you guys offer in the restaurant, to then adjust that recipe so that you guys have the best wing, right? Like, most venues are not doing that. Most venues are not actively trying to get better. There's so many restaurants that the menu that they had starting off is the same menu that they'll continue having all throughout, even if the food is mediocre, even if the experience is mediocre. They don't see a need to change anything, and so they'll keep that in place rather than actively trying to get better. Whenever I go to family gatherings, say it's like a Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's, and everyone's cooking, bringing food, my sister and I, we would find really good looking recipes online, try those recipes, be amazed, because whether we usually make like, baked mac and cheese or like biscuits or like cornbread, things like that, like sides, right? And we'll make it and it would be amazing. It would be like some of the best food we ever had. And then we would go to family gatherings with these, obviously these large, like family size in aluminum foils, right? For like everyone to have. And then we'll be eating, and then somebody will say, "Yo, who made the mac and cheese? Yo, who made the cornbread?" And then you can't help but to put a smile on your face, because you know that like the food you delivered is quality. And this is what I mean. It's like, could I just make my own mac and cheese or my own cornbread, just like trying out like the recipe that's on the box and stuff, or like just trying whatever? Like, sure, I can, but like, if I'm going to a family event, family gathering, I want to eat really good food, because these are special occasions that don't happen often. So I want to bring the best dish that I can. And that creates a memorable experience for those there, because then everyone wants to get to talk to you. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know you could cook." And they want to know the recipe for the mac and cheese or the cornbread. Or like, if you're going to an event where there's people there that you haven't met before, like in someone's home that you haven't been to, they're going to want to invite you back every time because they really enjoy the food. Like, this is what I mean. It's about striving to be the best, because the best is what's memorable. You can't just accept being average. And the people who accept being average will always get average results. They will just live their life like everyone else, and they'll just get what everyone else gets. See, here's another example of why you will not accept average. And this is why I love doing these videos, because I can jump into different examples of real world like experiences and things that happen. So I've been living in my area for about 15 years, and there's a sports bar that has been around ever since like I moved here. And within the last year, they closed because they went out of business. And it didn't surprise me one bit for why they went out of business. I was actually expecting that to happen because of just what I've seen and how the business was operating. And first and foremost, it is a sports bar. Sports bar. So you would expect that people would go for sports, right? Obviously, people go for food and for beers, things like that. But of course, the sports is what draws people in. It's foot traffic. That's what gets people there. And first and foremost, if the food and the drinks and the service was good, like if that was already top tier, then people would go there regardless of what's on the TV, regardless of like what they're showing, right? Because people want good food and want good experiences. But even just the food and the service was at best mid, right? Like there wasn't anything special about it. Like it was pretty average as a whole. But the other part of that business is that there were even just the TVs. There were some TVs that were like the coloring was off. So like there were some TVs that looked normal, and then other TVs that looked really bad that you could tell were outdated and needed to be changed, and they didn't. And a lot of times, even though I understand as a sports bar, they're going to have different sports on all the time. Generally, there should be one sporting event that's probably more important, or like that more people are there for than others. So like in case like that, they'll have like different sports on at the same time, but there will never be any volume unless there's just one singular event that's going on. And if let's just say a lot of people are there for NBA basketball, say they're Knicks fans, and then there's, if that is the main focus, then most of the TV should be on that, and there should be volume for the games. If one person decides that they want to watch hockey, then we could put hockey on for that one person. But there should be like, it should be an immersive experience, is what I'm getting at. But the biggest flaw that I've seen with that restaurant, aside from all of that, is that it's a sports bar, but yet on the weekend, say for example, there's pay-per-view. Like for me, I'm a big boxing and UFC fan. For those pay-per-views, they would charge cover for people to get in, and they would charge $20 cover per person to get in. So I paid it one time because I wanted to go. I went out for that event, and like it was whatever. Like I wanted to go see the fight with other people and be immersed in that experience. But the problem with that is charging cover, especially $20. Like that is a huge turnoff for a lot of people that are going out to watch sports, because if that venue that's already offering a mediocre or average experience is charging you $20 to watch a fight, when I can just go elsewhere and watch the fight for free, it's already a hard selling point for people to want to go in the venue. And for me, for example, it's like, what is my motivation for wanting to go to that venue, spend $20 every time cover, when I could just watch it at home, right? If I could get into that venue for free, then I would already spend $20 alone just off of getting beers and appetizers, things like that. Like having the fight gets me into the door, and then I can then spend money on apps and things like that. And on top of that, if there was no cover, I would also invite my friends, because they're not really big boxing fans, but they've seen a couple of fights and they're more than willing to like do stuff on the weekends. So it wouldn't just be me going alone. It would be me, and I would be inviting people. So say it would be like at least a group of 5 of us. So then that's 5 people there that would also get beers, food, whatever. That alone, our group alone would cover the cost of the pay-per-view. And that's obviously excluding everyone else who would go there for the event itself. So this is what I mean. That venue was average. Everything about it screamed average. It was operating as though it were average. And when I asked the venue, why is it that they charge cover? They said, oh, because it's so expensive. It's an added expense for the venue. But if you're a sports bar, that's the point, right? The point is so that you put on sports so that people would go to watch sports. But there's going to be people who don't care about the sports, that they just want to go and have a good time and eat and drink, but they're being asked to pay cover on a weekend, right? Just to get in, because you don't want, like, in order for someone to get in, you have to pay cover. That's a turnoff for a lot of people. And just imagine if there was a group of 10 people that wanted to go out to watch the fight, and you want to charge $20 a person. The whole group is probably looking at each other thinking, we can just find another place to watch the fight for free, and the $200 we would have spent just to get into that venue, we can just spend it on food somewhere else and watch the fight and still spend money and everything, right? So this is exactly what I mean. There's so many places and venues and businesses that are perfectly content with, and people perfectly content with accepting average, not understanding that being average is just going to set them back or ultimately put them out of business, because we as people are actively seeking the best. We're looking for the best at all times. If there was, and this is the same with other venues too, right? Other venues say there's like lounges and things like that. I understand the goal of lounges is to make money. I understand, right? That's what keeps the doors open. But sometimes their greed, and same with the sports bar, right? The greed of the sports bar for wanting to charge cover for people, usually on like a Friday, Saturday night, because that's when most pay-per-views happen, minimize its foot traffic. So if there's less people in the venue, then that means there's less people that are willing to spend money on alcohol, on food, right? There's less people inside. So you're hurting your own business by trying to be greedy. and charging cover when there's definitely plenty of people who can care less about the pay-per-view and just want to go in and have a good time. People have a good time. Say if I went in, because I had this debate with my friend, he goes on and tells me, he says, well, there's a lot of people who might just want to be there and not spend money. That's okay, right? Because if they have a good time, chances are they're going to be back, and chances are they're probably going to invite other people because they had a good time, and those other people may want to spend, right? So it's about short-term versus long-term as well. If you're offering a great experience, a great time for other people, and quality service, and everything about you is exceptional, people are going to come back. People are going to recommend the place for other folks, right? So this is why you have to strive to be the best. That's why I believe that business went out of business, because they were perfectly content with being average. And if it were ever a case where, you wanted to avoid people going in there and just, not spending any money, then rather than telling people they need to pay for cover, you can say, hey, we have this amount that you need to pay to get in, but this amount gives you 2 drinks and an appetizer, right? Like, we're selling you a voucher, $20 voucher, and it gives you, like 2 drinks and an appetizer. People look at that and say, okay, well, I'll do it, because then I'm not just paying for cover to get in. It's actually, I'm paying money, but I'm guaranteed something in return. Like, so you're making money when people come in, right? Like, there's ways around it, but the venues that just wanted to just charge cover because they believe it was such an expense to put on sports at a sports bar. That's why they were never full. That's why every time I walked by, there was only ever a handful of people. I've only seen that place full once or twice my entire time here. And it shows, because they were perfectly content with being average and not providing the best quality experience for other people. And it shows. We know all, like, we've seen people in our lives who are content with being average, businesses that are fine with being average, and so then they'll remain average. The results will always be average. They're not actively finding ways to get better or reinvent themselves or try new things. Then soon enough, they're going to be obsolete. And that's with everything. Either you're constantly looking for ways to get better, or you're going to be gone in due time. This is why I use these examples, sort of like anecdotes, for you, right? To have you understand that you cannot and you will not accept average. You will always strive to be better. You will always try to bring out the best version of yourself. Whatever it is that you pursue, you're going to go in there head first, and you're going, like, there's no other option. It's just about getting it done, doing it the right way, and being the best. And competing. And I'm not talking about competition in the sense that there's only one prize for people to win, right? I'm talking about competition as in bringing out the best version of yourself and smiling and saying, you know what, like, I can go above and beyond, right? I can show out too. Like, I'm here to win. And that's how everybody in every business needs to be, right? Needs to be operating as if they're trying to go for first place. Not because there's only one prize. Like, I understand in the real world, there's not just one prize, right? Everyone can win. But if you're operating as though you want to be the best, that you want to be number one, that will take you so far in life. And those who don't want to do that or refuse to do that are going to be long gone. So that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe, as I will be posting more content very soon. Of course, daily content. And we are on the road to 50 subscribers. So once again, guys, this is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys in the video.